I say if you have nothing to hide, you have no... You have nothing to hide. You have nothing to lose. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I am here to review episode 11 of The Real Housewives Getting Drinks Thrown in Their Mouths of New Jersey. So we start the episode off with Teresa and her daughters finally moving out of their house and moving into Louie's house. But first, they need to pack up the last couple of things in their house. But Teresa, she was just screaming at the top of her lungs. I mean, I thought it was just me for a second. I thought it was my volume that was raised all the way up because she was just screaming at the top of her lungs. She was just like, Melania, do you want these LED lights? Gia, do you want a sandwich? Come downstairs. We're moving now quickly. Hurry up. And I'm just like, Teresa, shut the fuck up. Like, if I was the movers, I would have been like, excuse me, lady, I think I need a raise right now because I think you just blew out my eardrum or something because you're screaming way too much. Be quiet. We move over to Jennifer. Jennifer is trying to clean up the room, her son's room, and then we move over to the Catanias. We move over to Dolores, and she's finally getting Frank to move into their house, and their dynamic was pretty cute. I mean, I've never really seen it for them this whole entire season, but this specific scene of all of them being in the same room and trying to get Frank together in the room and trying to get him comfortable, it was actually cute. I'm like, Dolores, I mean, just give it one more shot. I mean, the family dynamic is there. You and Frank already have chemistry, and both of you are kind of cute when you two are talking to each other and playing around with each other. And both of you already go everywhere together. So, I mean, why not just give it a shot? We all know that both you and Frank are fucking anyway when the cameras are off. So why not? But Frank, he's moving into his room, and for a second, it felt like a mom dropping off her son at college for the first time in their dorm room. Like, oh, my big Frank. He used to be my little Frank, and now look, he's a grown man now, going to college, going to his own dorm. He's gonna be studying. He has everything here. I'm so proud of you, Frank. Like, really, do you want any fruit snacks or anything? Do you want mommy to bring you anything? That's the type of vibe that I got. I mean, he's like a grown-ass man. Frank, he's just like, wait, what's that in the corner of the room? And then there's a little chinchilla in a cage. And the daughter is just like, oh, well, that's my chinchilla pet. He's going to be staying here for a while, to keep you company. And then Frank is just like, I'm not sure how I feel about a chinchilla being in this room. I mean, what if I'm sleeping and it starts snoring? I'm not sure about this. You know what? I think give it a couple months and it's probably going to become a penis warmer. And I'm just like, what? A penis warmer? That's pretty concerning, Frank. I mean, somebody call PETA quickly. The kids leave the room, so she sits down to talk with Frank one-on-one, and she's telling him about the trip to Nashville and how she has this friend who's a realtor who's also friends with the ghost of the show, Tracy. How convenient is that? But this realtor is hooking up everybody with this huge house in Nashville that's really nice. So Dolores is happy about that. We head back over to Teresa's house, and she's finishing up packing with her daughters, but this time for good though. Like, this is the last time, I think, allegedly, but they're finishing up packing, and it was kind of bittersweet seeing the house completely empty. I mean, this has been a house that's been a staple in Teresa's life, and now it's kind of like you have to close that door and you have to move on to the next one. It's pretty sad just seeing everything completely empty, but Teresa, she was still screaming. She was just like, yeah, the piano's gonna go to the new homeowners. We're gonna leave them here. No, the piano's gonna be sold. And I'm just like, Teresa, can you be quiet for 2 seconds? I'm trying to get emotional here with you. I just feel like this could have been the perfect way to end Teresa's run on the show and finally remove herself from it and go on and live happily ever after with Louis, his family, your family, all underneath the same roof, instead of trying to come back next season and having the possibility of trying to defend your marriage or your relationship with Louis once again, because we all know that the women are not going to let up from Teresa. Even if they see her happy, nothing's going on with them, they're going to try to find something to nitpick to something leading up to some possible divorce. Or at least that's the way it usually happens. So Teresa, I don't know, I just feel like this could have been your way of, kind of ending everything. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that this would have been the perfect way to end things with Teresa? I personally think so. Everything just came to a halt here, but they were giving us all the flashbacks. It was pretty sad just seeing them just all going through the house when they were younger. Again, this is a huge staple in Teresa's life. This house means a lot to her, and I low-key wanted them to play the flashback of her flipping the table. I know it had nothing to do with the house, but I still wanted to see it anyway. But then the daughters, they come downstairs, they're all hugging, they're all having a moment. They're all like, come over here, Gia, Melania, everybody come over here, hug me. Mom, why are we hugging? Be quiet, hug me tighter. The cameras are on us. I'm trying to get us a spin-off. Be quiet, I said. Gia, hold me tighter. Hold me tighter. Make it seem like you love me. Hold me tighter, okay. Yeah, we're gonna really miss this house. I'm really gonna miss this house, Mom, why are we hugging? I said keep hugging me. Andy is watching. He's gonna watch this footage back and I'm trying to get a spinoff. Don't you want a spinoff? They're gonna give us extra money. You know what? You're grounded. Ugh, can't do nothing, right? I'm gonna miss this house so much. I love you guys. Then we get into some shenanigans because as Teresa's on her way to Louie's house with her daughters, she's driving in the car, her daughter's in the passenger seat. Everything is fine, everything is okay, right? I didn't notice it until I saw people pointing it out online that there was snow all around the car on the highway or the street that they were driving. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's suspicious because again, I've lived in Jersey all my life. I'm from New Jersey. So snow in the summer, it does not make sense. Like, it was reminding me of when Erica Jane was just like, it definitely snowed in Pasadena. Like, no, it doesn't. So, that scene right there, it was a little choppy. It was a little edited all over together. I mean, if I was Andy or the production team, I would have been like, you know what, Teresa, get in this car. We're going to put a green screen behind you. And we're going to make it look like it's sunny outside because there was snow everywhere. So obviously they filmed this later on, I'm assuming in December, October, November, because that's when it usually snows in New Jersey. Because in the summertime, we don't get snow. So, I mean, that was very unbelievable. Maybe they thought we wouldn't catch it. I mean, I didn't catch it. I only caught it because I saw people talking about it. But they'll also catch that shady moment between Teresa and Melissa when Melissa called her as she was driving to Louie's house and she was just like, oh, hey, Melissa, yeah, right now we're on our way to Louie's house. I can't believe we're moving houses. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm here with my girls right now. It is so unbelievable. It's so surreal. But you would know that, right? Because you move from house to house to house every other year, right? With my brother. Yeah, it's so funny, right? And I'm just like, wow, Teresa. Like, that was a subtle dig at Melissa. Like, oh, yeah, you move houses every other day. Me, this is our first time doing it in a very long time. They get over to Louie's house. Louie's house looks beautiful from the outside. It looks really nice. They're going inside. And I wasn't sure if her daughters just never saw the house from the inside. Because if you're moving into somebody's house and you're going to live there forever with this family, you don't even know how the house looks like. That's pretty concerning. I mean, I would at least like to know what I'm going to be living in or how everything is going to be looking at. Like, what if I'm Gia and I'm just showing up like, oh, yeah, I'm going to live here. And it's a box. Like, that's pretty concerning. But they're going in. The house is pretty from the inside. Louie's there with his one son. So I thought both his sons were going to be living with them, but no, it's only going to be one son. The other son lives with his ex-wife. So it's going to be 3 daughters, Teresa, Louie, and one of his sons. So we'll see how the dynamic is. Hopefully they don't overrun the house. But Louie, he's sweet about it. He's showing them all around the house. Everything looks really nice. It almost seems as if Teresa was trying to convince the girls to say something nice about the house because she's just like, yeah, I got you this mirror. I got you this mirror. Do you like this mirror, Gia? I got you. Don't you like it? Say you like it or else you're grounded. Say it. Go ahead, say it. And then Gia, meanwhile, she's in her confessional like, I just feel like my mom is going to be so much happier in this house and she's happy with Louie and Louie's always happy. So I think they're going to be happy together underneath this happy home. And I feel like me and my sisters are also going to be happy with them because they're always happy. So we're probably going to be happy too. And I just feel like it's a big happy change in my mom's life, and the house is very nice and it's also happy. So why not, and if we come back next season, I'm probably going to be a happy housewife or a happy friend of the show. But either way, I'm excited for my mom and her happy journey with happy Louie, After they're done exploring the house, Louie tells Teresa, oh, can you come to the back patio for a second? I just want to show you something. So they all head to the back of the house. Louie's telling Teresa, I wanted to give you something like a gift, something like a welcome home gift, but I can't really give you anything else because you already have it all. And I've seen those Bravo checks and whew, they pay you a lot. So I wanted to give you something here. So on the concrete of the back patio floor, there's a little slogan that's already embroiled into the floor, into the concrete floor. And it says, Siempre en Fanny. I believe that I'm probably butchering that, but it's a slogan that Teresa used at her parents' memorial when they passed away. And it means always together. So that was a cute little touch right there. I'm like, oh, Louie, that was so, so touching. Teresa gets emotional because she has a tattoo of it. She's getting all worked up. Daughters get all worked up. They start hugging Louie. They're like, thank you so much. That is so sweet. And it is a sweet gesture from Louie. It almost makes you want to, kind of close your eyes and look away at all the red flags that he's been showing. So what? Maybe, what? Here's some advice. If you ever catch your significant other on a beach with 20 other naked men behind him and he's making a creepy video of how he wants you back, maybe you should listen. maybe that relationship is worth fighting for and fixing if it means having a man like Louis doing sweet gestures like that to you, because that slogan right there is always going to be with Teresa, and it's always going to connect her and her parents, who are no longer here, in her new home with him. So I think it was a cute gesture. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that it's just a way of him manipulating her, or do y'all genuinely believe that Louis is just really being nice to Teresa and just want to show love to her? Everyone is getting ready and packing up their suitcases for their trip to Nashville, and we see all the wives talking to their husbands one by one, and the conversation revolves around Margaret versus Teresa. And then we see Jackie talking to Evan at her house, and she's telling him how she's concerned about her best friend Margaret, how she's gonna probably get into it with Teresa on this trip, living underneath the same roof together, but it's also concerning herself and her well-being, because she doesn't want to relapse and go back to not eating anything anymore underneath stress, because she told her therapist, if we remember, that all last season with Teresa, she went through so much stress with her and dealing with all that drama that it caused her to lose a lot of weight, and she doesn't want to relapse into going back into that cycle. And I'm looking at Jackie like, I completely get it and I completely understand that, and I love seeing her journey this entire season of how she's trying to get better. But Jackie, at the same time, I mean, this is not even your battle, but if it's gonna affect you like that and you're not even involved in it, then yeah, like I said before in one of my previous reviews, I suggest that you take yourself away from the show and get yourself better on your own time, and not in front of this camera, and not in front of the cameras or on a reality TV show, because we all know how these shows go, and they're not gonna light up. They're not gonna, let's stop having drama because Jackie, we need everything in her life to be okay so she doesn't relapse. It doesn't go that way, unfortunately. We could have our moments here and there, and yeah, we're gonna have our moments where we laugh, we have fun, we have this, that, and the third, and there's no yelling. But when we see how the tension between Margaret and Teresa is and how hot it is between them, then of course that's not gonna go away anytime soon. So I mean, what do you expect, Jackie? So that's why I'm saying I love seeing her journey, but at the same time, if it's gonna better you and your health and your mental health at that, and your marriage with Evan, I suggest that you remove yourself from the show. What do y'all think? I mean, because at this point, she's just putting herself in the line of fire, because if she's worried about Margaret and Teresa, I wonder how that situation at the very end of the episode with Teresa throwing all the dishes and cups at Margaret, I wonder how that affects Jackie in the end. I wonder how she feels about that internally and emotionally. Everyone meets up at the airport, and Margaret surprisingly says hello to Teresa. Teresa kind of keeps it cordial with her. She's like, hi, Margaret, don't talk to me for the rest of the trip. And then this is where production fucked up, because as they take their flight to Nashville and they land in Nashville, there's 3 Sprinter vans waiting for them in front of the airport. And I'm thinking, why are we giving them options? Because Margaret, she gets on one of the Sprinter in the back, and Teresa, she's like, oh, Louis, let's go to the front one because I don't want to be with Margaret. Production should have told them, like, no, we are not separating this. This is going to be good footage right here. So we're going to have all the women, all the wives go on one Sprinter van, and we're going to have all the husbands go on the other Sprinter van, and see how that plays out. You can't keep giving Teresa like rope for her to like kind of leave the situation. She's always running away from scenes or from group scenarios, and we need to keep her down. We need to hold her down. So if that means having her on the Sprinter van with Margaret, then so be it. Who knows what kind of footage we would have got with that. Teresa probably wouldn't withstand just sitting next to Margaret a couple of seats away from her. And we all know how these Sprinter vans are known for, bringing out the best in people, or at least the worst, aka flashback to Salt Lake City. That's all we need to know. But no, they gave Teresa the option, so she's in the front with Louis and Jennifer, and I believe it was Melissa. Everybody else is in the back in a different Sprinter van. They're heading to this house that Dolores got them. The house is beautiful. It is huge. As they get there, Teresa's just like, can me and Louis get the master bedroom? Can me and Louis get the master bedroom? Can me and Louis get the master? I want the master bedroom. I want the master bedroom. Can I have the master bedroom? So Dolores is just like, okay, everybody, let's just give it to Teresa and Louis, because I promised that she was gonna get it. And then Melissa, she gets all hell bent about it. And she's like, I just don't think that it's fair that, that Teresa and Louis get the master suite. I think that me and Joe should get it. I don't understand why I just think that is so disrespectful. Who does that? And I'm like, Melissa, why didn't you have that type of energy with Ramona from the Housewives of New York on Ultimate Girls Trip when she tried to do the same thing? You were just so casual about it back then. You should have had the same energy then that you had with Teresa. But Teresa's just like, no, me and Louis, we're the new lovebirds or whatever, so why not? And if anybody should be mad at anybody, you should be mad, Melissa, at Dolores for promising that to Teresa in the first place, because again, lovebirds my ass. Like, I don't care. And then Margaret, she wants to be bitter about it too. She's like, I don't get it. They were just on a vacation 2 months ago, which, by the way, must be nice to complain about that. Like, oh, we were just on vacation 2 months ago. Can we just get the sweet now? Like, I would have been like, no, just because of that. Like, no, absolutely not. But Margaret, she was just like, I don't get it. They both bang like rabbits already. So why are they just gonna bang more in here? And I'm just like, okay, Margaret, but why do you want the sweet too? Because you and your husband, you're gonna go in there, and what exactly are you two gonna go in there to do? Play card games, play Yu-Gi-Oh, play Pokemon? What are you two actually gonna be in there? Because I mean, from what we see, I don't know. I mean, this is just me, but I just feel like they don't really do nothing, sexually or anything. I can't even picture that, nor do I want to picture that. But that's just me. So Margaret, just stay out of it. Then Joe, he's like a little kid in a candy factory. He's just like, oh my God, a trampoline. I'm gonna look taller. Let's go, Tiki. Let's go outside. So he goes outside. He starts jumping on this trampoline, which at first I didn't know it was a trampoline because it's on the floor, but it's not elevated like I usually see. I've never seen a trampoline like this because it's attached to the floor, but I'm assuming they dug underneath it to make it like, I guess, hollow, but it doesn't look safe. It kind of looks tricky. I would still do it, but it still looks dangerous. So then Teresa, she's finally in face-to-face with Jackie. Jackie's kind of nervous. She's kind of worried. And she's like, oh, hey, Teresa, how are you? And Teresa's just like, how come you haven't talked to me at all? You haven't talked to me since the baseball game. And you always kind of being shady around me. Jackie's just like, what? No, I'm not. I'm still your friend. And I'm friends with Margaret. I just feel like you and Margaret should clear things up. And Teresa's just like, no. I mean, why should I clear anything up with Margaret? I don't have to. She's talking to the bloggers. No. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, Jackie. No. Jackie, then she admits that she's been kind of avoiding Teresa because she's afraid of her. And that's the problem we have with this cast, that everyone seems to be afraid of Teresa. Why? Just because she flipped the table 10 years ago? Like, so what? Yeah, she may, have her ways or whatever, but we need to stop this whole, oh, I'm scared of her. That's why I kind of appreciate Kim D at least going back and forth with Teresa and actually being able to like go face to face with her. Unlike Jackie, I mean, given the situation that she's in with her health and her body and the situation of possibly relapsing if she gets into it with Teresa, I get it. But at the same time, I feel like everybody on the cast has that same mentality. Maybe not Margaret. Margaret seems to be the only one that could actually go toe to toe with Teresa, and for that I appreciate it. But everybody on the cast is always bowing down to Teresa, and that is getting tiring because we can't have that. We can't always put Teresa on a crown just because she's been on the show for the longest. I mean, that doesn't matter. But Jackie's just like, no, I mean, I haven't been avoiding you. Everything has been fine. And then Teresa accuses Margaret of talking to some bloggers about her and her relationship with Louis or the situation in the group dynamic overall. And she's like, every time something happens within us, it always gets out to the blogger. I'm not sure what blogger she's talking about, but apparently this is a thing. Margaret, she's like, oh, Margaret's been doing this over and over and over. Jackie, do you know of anything? Jackie trying to defend Margaret because I know she's never going to go against Margaret because, like I said before, I feel like Margaret has some dirt on Evan, possibly, no matter what, like how big or small. She has some dirt on Evan, and Jackie is afraid to go against Margaret because she's afraid that Margaret will probably, spill that out to everybody. But she's defending Margaret. She's like, no, my best friend Margaret, everything is fine with her. She's never talked to any bloggers. I just feel like you and Margaret should just kind of squash everything and kind of hash everything out. And Teresa's just like, no, we're going to leave everything the way it is. Leave me alone. I'm not dealing with anything that involves Margaret. Another thing that I thought was kind of like a red flag was when Jackie separated herself from the conversation with Teresa, she went into the kitchen to go eat a sandwich. And as she's standing there by the table with the other guys, Evan, he comes over and he's just like, oh, the suitcases are unpacked. Can I show you the suitcases? And Jackie's just like, wait, what? Because he was making a joke at something. And she's like, wait, what? So he was alluding to going upstairs to the room to have a quickie with her, to have sex. And she's just like, oh, no, I'm not having sex with you. Stop. No, I just got my hair did. Evan, he looked annoyed and he was just like, fine. And then he just walked away. So it just also makes me think that not every relationship or marriage or anything has to revolve around sex, right? But I feel like this isn't the first time that Evan has maybe kind of like begged Jackie for sex in a way, as in like, oh, why are you not touching me? Or why are we not being intimate? Why are we not doing anything? It almost makes you question off of the cameras. Like, do they not have any type of intimacy? Like, is Jackie not comfortable with that? Is that also part of her process of healing? Like, what is going on? Because then it also brings up the cheating rumors. That not saying that just because you're not getting none, quote unquote, from your significant other at home, that you're going to go outside of your marriage. or outside of your relationship and go get it from somebody else. But it almost makes you think like, well, I'm not getting satisfied physically from my own wife. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to step outside of my marriage and find somebody who could do it for me, thus resulting in those cheating rumors that we heard about last season. So it just makes you question things and makes you wonder, what do y'all think? Maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but I don't know. When he said that, he looked annoyed. I was just like, there must be something there. But regardless, we head over to Margaret because Jackie goes and talks to Margaret and she's just like, oh, well, Teresa thinks that you're talking about her and everything that's going on in the group to some bloggers or whatever. And I'm telling her that it's not true. Margaret's just like, what? Like, no, I've never done that. I've never talked to any bloggers. She starts talking to her husband, Joe, or her business partner at this point, Joe. And she's like, why would I talk to any bloggers? I don't have any time to talk to any bloggers. And I'm looking at Margaret like, but you don't have time to talk to bloggers, but you have time to make Teresa your entire storyline for 10 episodes so far. So, I mean, what's the truth here, Margaret? Like, I'm pretty sure if you have time to question Louis about his past for 100 different ways, 100 different times, I'm pretty sure that you can make some time to talk to those bloggers. Everyone reunites in the kitchen downstairs and Margaret whispers over to Jackie right before they head out and she's like, well, I need to talk to Teresa and I need to straighten her out because I don't want her thinking that I'm talking to bloggers. So I need to call her out for these lies. And I'm like, okay, Margaret, let's see how that works out for you in that white dress. But okay, so then they all get on the Sprinter van. They all head out to this bar because they want a bull ride. And I'm like, oh, let's see how this works out because from the previews last week, I'm curious to see how Jackie does. So they all go to the bar area. They're all sitting down at the table. They order some drinks and they're like, oh, we should get on the bull before we start eating or anything, you know, because then we're probably going to throw up. So then they get on the bull. Melissa's the first one to get on and Melissa's just like, let's see. And then I don't know if she has slippers or not, but she took off her shoes and she was just walking around barefoot on the floor. And I'm like, Melissa, come on now, let's represent Jersey stronger than this. What are we doing? But she gets on the bull and I believe Frank was the one that whispered to Joe, oh, now you're going to find out how she rides a real man. Melissa starts swinging all over the place, but she kept her grip on the bull for a good second or two, but eventually it throws her off, and then Jackie gets on, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see. Jackie gets on, and at first she's doing okay, you know, she's doing fine, like, yeehaw, yeah, everybody take a video, take a picture, put me on Snapchat, and then it gets faster, and she's like, oh, you know, everything is okay, everything is fine, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm okay, everything is fine, and then it gets a little bit faster, okay, no, it's fine, no, I'm okay, and then it gets even more faster to the level, like, of extreme, and she goes flying all over the place. She's just like, oh my God, somebody save me, no. Margaret decides to skip her turn and I'm like, lame. That is so lame. And her excuse is, well, I'm a gentle flower. And I'm like, Margaret, first of all, you're poison ivy. And then Teresa's like, oh, let me show Margaret how it's really done. Let's show her how a real Jersey girl gets down. So she gets on the bull and she holds on for a good minute. She was probably imagining and she's probably fantasizing that the bull was probably Louis. Maybe that's why she held on for her life. So eventually the bull flies her over. And if it was me, I would have been so nasty with it on the bull. Then it was the husband's turns to ride the bull, and it was fun seeing everyone take a turn at riding the bull. The men, they also stayed on longer than their wives. Joe, he was gripping the bull like for his life as if he thought he was going to win a prize after this. And then we see Tiki. He was the one that held on the longest out of all the husbands. And then Jennifer, in her confessional, I'm like, Jennifer, I mean, she was just like, you know, it was really nice to ride Tiki. I mean, it was really nice to see him ride the bull. I mean, it was really nice to sleep with him. It was really nice to have an orgasm. It was just really nice to ride him all night. I mean, it was really nice to see Tiki ride the bull. And I'm like, Jennifer, like, get it together. She was digmatized. I'm like, what, Jennifer? Like, you were giving your husband hell all 10 episodes this season so far about his affair from 10 years ago. And here you are just slipping up over Tiki. Like, no. Like, how are you going to take a mistress husband and be a mistress yourself? Alleged mistress. Okay, Tracy, alleged mistress. Okay, we'll go with that. And I'm like, yikes. You know, she corrected herself in the confessional, but, you know, she was just... It looked like she had a lot of fun watching him up there. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, if I was Bill looking at this footage now, I'm like, wow. So you made my whole affair a storyline this whole season, but yet you have this to say about Tiki? I want an apology tonight. And what was so funny as well, speaking of Tiki, is that we had no scenes of Tracy whatsoever riding the bull. I mean, I'm not sure if she was also lame like Margaret and decided not to do it, but yeah, it was almost like, okay, everybody gets a candy cane except you, Gretchen Wieners. You get nothing. After the bull riding, everybody sits back down at the dinner table and Melissa begins to tell them about what they're going to do the following day. And she's just like, well, this is the capital of country music and I want to record a country song possibly and listen to some country music because you know my song On Display, it went #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and it got a Grammy last year. I want to get another Grammy, so I maybe want to record another country song. What do you think? And then Margaret, the disrespect, because she was just like, oh yeah, well, Melissa, you could be Diana Ross and I could just be your backup singer. No, Margaret, come over here. Come over here. Get a little closer. Don't you ever disrespect Diana Ross like that. What is wrong with you? Like, comparing Melissa's voice to Diana Ross is like, what is wrong with you? No. Even if you're joking, stop it. And then Jackie, she's the one that sets this whole thing off in motion just by asking Margaret, oh, so how do you know Tracy's friend, the realtor who let her stay at the house that they're all staying at in Nashville? And then Teresa, she jumps in. But right before that, she was just like, no, I don't feel, no, I'm not going with Melissa to record any music. No, I'm not doing it. Margaret, you can do it with her. I'm not doing it. And I'm just like, okay, that's strike number 1 right there because you don't want to do activities again with the group. It's just, again, Teresa, you're going to eventually end up icing yourself out of the group. But then when Jackie asked that question to Margaret, that was strike 2 because she was just like, oh, well, Margaret knows everybody. She knows everybody. So what's the surprise here, Jackie? She knows everybody. I mean, she obviously knows the bloggers. And then Margaret's just like, what are you talking about, the bloggers? I've never talked anything about the bloggers. I've never said anything to them. I don't know why you're making that up. And then Teresa, she's just becoming a hothead. She's just like, no, you did talk to the bloggers. You did talk to the bloggers. I don't care what you say, Margaret. You did talk to the blogger. You talked to the blogger. I know that you talked to the blogger. The blogger told me. And then Margaret just continues going back and forth with her. And she's like, I did not do such a thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Just because you're talking about your relationship with Louis, I have no time for that. So Teresa continues accusing Margaret of talking to these alleged bloggers. At this point, I believe Teresa, I do think that Margaret would spill something to the bloggers. Even if it's not a lie, I feel like she would. What do y'all think? Or do y'all have any receipts? Please drop them down in the comments. Margaret was just like, you know what, Teresa? You're a fucking liar. That's what you are. You're a fucking liar. And then Teresa, it was like tick, tick, tick in her head. Like she was waiting to process what Margaret said because she was just like,
pay attention, please.
Teresa begins to fling a bunch of dishes and cups in Margaret's direction, and Margaret's just sitting there taking it, and she gets a whole drink thrown in her face. Her entire white Mother Teresa dress that she had on was drenched in red juice, and I believe her whole face was wet too. Some of it went in her mouth as well. I'm like, damn, Margaret, you don't have to worry about drinking tonight. Teresa completely lost it. And I'm not sure if anybody noticed, but Louis, because I watched it multiple times, Louis, I'm not sure what he was doing, but he took a page out of Kyle Richards' book because he ran so quickly. As soon as he saw his girlfriend just throwing a bunch of things, he just ran like, no, I'm leaving. And if you pay even closer attention to Jennifer and Bill, they were unbothered by anything. I mean, they were just sitting there like, this is just a typical Tuesday with Teresa. My nails are kind of cute. Maybe I'll buy that Chanel necklace I really wanted. I wonder if Tracy would be willing to share Tiki. I mean, he did ride that bull really nicely. Bill nor Jennifer flinched. Bill was just sitting there drinking out of his drink with his straw. Tracy, she was sitting next to Margaret. So she got some of the drink that was thrown in her direction on her as well. And she was just like, wait, maybe if I make more dramatic faces, the camera will be on me. And I'm like, Tracy, this was your perfect time right there to throw a drink right back at Teresa. I mean, she threw it at Margaret. First of all, that was a little dangerous because, I mean, I think she threw glass plates and glass drinks, like glass cups, in her direction. Imagine if it actually smashed in her face and it broke on her face and then it caused bleeding and stuff. Like, that would have been a whole different situation. So, Tracy, that right there, I would have got up. I would have thrown so many dishes right back at Teresa. Like, okay, you got Margaret, but you got some of me too. I mean, this shirt, I just got it from Marshall's earlier, but it's still expensive. It costs $15. So I'm coming at you as well. And Teresa, she's just spazzing off to security. They jumped in. They're like, Teresa, calm down, calm down. You already secured your raise for next season if you do come back off the scene right here. But calm down, relax. Louis trying to calm her down. Melissa, she's trying over there to try to think of a storyline for next season with Joe. Teresa's just like, you fucking white trash. You fucking white trash, bitch. You fucking white trash. You fucking white trash. You white trash. You white trash. You fucking white trash, bitch. And I'm like, Teresa, you are calling who white trash, but you're... All right, I mean, whatever. If you want to call it that, fine. Whatever. So Margaret, she's getting up. So I thought she was going to do something too. But Margaret's just getting up looking like La Llorona, just sitting there like all wet and everything. Just, Margaret, just sit down. You weren't going to do anything anyway. She was just like, you fucking bitch. And I'm just like, Margaret, please. Like, sit down. Teresa, again, she's at this point, Teresa's more wilder than the bull that they were just riding on. She's trying to calm down. They're trying to secure her to like leave the room. And I'm not sure if anybody saw all the guests in the actual restaurant. I mean, everybody was just watching. They all had their head turned like, Jersey people, like how trashy. Like, ugh, I could never. So Teresa, they're trying to escort her out. She continues calling Margaret white trash. Margaret's just like, oh, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this. She's trying to dry off the dress that she just got everything poured on. And eventually they get her to the staircase and they're trying to get her to the first floor. And she's still going off. She's like, no, let me get her. Let me go back upstairs. I'm going to beat her fucking ass. I'm going to beat her fucking ass. That fucking white bitch. That fucking whore. No, I'm going back upstairs. I'm going back upstairs. They continue holding her back. And I'm like, just let her go. I want to see her actually do something. Like if she's actually about it. But no, they get her back downstairs. Louis is also trying to control her. And on top of that, I'm not sure if they also decide to take shots. Because I saw somebody pouring shots. I'm like, I don't think that's the best thing to do in this scenario, but okay. So Margaret, she's still upstairs. She's in disbelief still. And Dolores, she's like, I can't believe what just happened. This is going to be such a good season. I can't believe this. I can't wait till Andy sees this. So she goes over to Margaret. She's like, Margaret, I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. Like, let me dry you off or whatever. Like, this dress was already hideous before, but now it's even worse. But, just calm down. Let's eat that. Oh, look, there's steak. So Margaret, they decide to kind of sit down and kind of squash everything out between the group that was still left at the table, while Teresa's still going off downstairs. She says she wants to go back upstairs. She wants to beat Margaret's ass. I want to see her do it. And Louis is just like, calm down, calm down. Melissa's trying to calm her down. Teresa goes right back upstairs. And Melissa, she kind of trips. I saw you trip, Melissa, on the stairs as you were going back upstairs, and Teresa is trying to get to Margaret. And I'm like, are you really going to do something? I mean, I could possibly see it, but I mean, quick side note, it's pretty sad, honestly, how the audience, or just in general, like Teresa has to be interesting by just being violent or just by getting physical or throwing something at somebody. Like, she can never be entertaining anymore just by not doing that at this point in the show anymore. Like, all she's going to be known for is just throwing drinks or trying to go after somebody or walking away. You're never going to have any more funny moments, nothing. Like, it's always going to be just about her against everybody else like this. This is why I say that Teresa's time on the show is kind of over, because I don't want her to be miserable. I like Teresa. I just don't want her to be miserable on the show and constantly defending Louis, her happiness, her love bubble. Like, if you want that, then just leave the show, because you see what this show is going to bring out of you. You see like the ugly side that it's going to bring out of you. And you don't want to be throwing plates and cups and possibly injure Margaret or anybody on the cast even more in the future, and then something happens to you then. And then on top of that, Margaret, as Teresa was leaving, I believe she was just like, oh, you're lucky you're not on parole. And I'm like, ooh, like that right there. If I was Teresa, I would have ran through that security so quickly. Like, get off me, get off me. If I was Margaret, honestly, I would have been like, clink, 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 clink. You touch me, bitch, you're gonna leave in handcuffs. Shout out to Kim D. Jennifer decides to go downstairs and check up on Teresa, and Teresa's like, you know what, let's leave, because if I go back upstairs, I'm gonna try to beat Margaret's ass. So you know what, I'm not gonna do that, so I'm just gonna decide to leave. So her, Louis, Melissa, Joe, and Bill, and Jennifer, they decide to get up and go in the Sprinter, and they go right back home. Meanwhile, everybody else is left upstairs. Margaret is talking to Dolores. Dolores is just like, well, I'm gonna go check up on Teresa. And then Margaret, all of a sudden, she thinks she's like the queen bitch. She's just like, no, Dolores, if you go over there, you're fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting, because Teresa is a fucking thug. She's a thug and she's a monster. And I'm like, wait a minute. Flashback, 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 flashback. Margaret, let's not call people thugs and monsters when you did the same thing. Maybe you didn't throw as many things as Teresa did in your direction, but let's not pretend as if you're not the same thing as Teresa. Maybe a little bit more tamer, but you're the same thing. You threw a drink in Danielle's face. You threw her husband in the pool. Then you threw a drink on top of Danielle's head not too long ago. So what does that make you? I mean, Margaret seems to forget that the audience remembers this and that all of this is caught on camera. So, I mean, Margaret, you're pointing fingers over here, but I'm not sure, what are you then? And on top of that, you're trying to control Dolores. Like, the way she was talking to her. If I was Dolores, I'm like, Dolores, if I was you, Margaret, I will calm that tone down before you get another drink thrown in your face, because who are you talking to? Like, telling me like, oh, I'm not allowed to leave. Where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. She's disgusting. I'll be disgusting too if I go along with her. Like, no. And Dolores, she is a flip-flop because she just never, again, she goes wherever the wind blows, because even Jackie said it. She was just like, well, she doesn't really have any loyalty to anybody at this point. Dolores just does what Dolores wants. So she decides to sit back down and talk it out with Margaret. Margaret's just like, I can't believe this. Like, why would she ever act like that? Like, that is disgusting. I would never act like that. And I'm like, sure, Margaret. I wish that Bravo was petty enough to play the flashback of her actually doing the stuff that Teresa's doing. Maybe that way the audience could see, like, Margaret, like, what is this? Like, here's the receipts. Like, what's going on here? You're saying one thing, but you're doing another. So Teresa and everybody else, they head back home. They get to the home. Teresa's at 100, and she is just storming around the house. She's like, I'm not staying here. I'm not staying here. And again, just like I said earlier, they're giving Teresa a choice here. They continue almost kind of like babying her and like protecting her. Like, oh, okay, you know what? Let's put her in a hotel and have her tell us what to film, when to film, and who to film at this point, because Teresa has become the producer. Every time she doesn't want it her way, or she doesn't like how certain things are going, she walks away from it. She leaves the scene. She has left the group. She does not want to participate in group activities at this point anymore. So again, why are we continuing keeping Teresa if that's going to be her constant thing on this show? I mean, every time the heat gets too high in the kitchen for her, she wants to walk away and go into the living room. So again, it's not fair, because that's not how the show goes. But I mean, I guess in this situation, it's better that she does go to the hotel, because if she does stay here and Margaret does come, who knows? It could also put Margaret in danger. But Teresa, she's in her room. She's going off with Louis. She's packing all the shit up, and she's got her pajamas on. I believe she gets back on the sprinter, and she's like, come on, Louis, let's go. And that's another thing too, that Louis, as nice as he is so far, I mean, he's kind of like Teresa's puppy. He just goes wherever she goes. I mean, he has to follow her entire shit show, and he has to just kind of go with it just because of loyalty, I'm supposed. But Teresa, she gets on the sprinter, and she's like, I'm leaving. So she decides to leave. And then Melissa, like, can we not text Margaret everything? Because she texts Margaret that Teresa has left the house for the night, and Margaret, she reads the text out loud, and she's like, oh wow, Teresa has left. So that's that, and everybody's left in confusion at what's about to happen next. But all we know is that Teresa is really upset. And one more thing, Andy, because I know how Andy likes to be, how he likes to play favoritism, and how he likes to say certain things about certain other housewives. Let's call Teresa out on her behavior here, since you want to say, oh, you don't condone violence on here, you don't condone violence here, or how certain housewives, they get demoted if they get physical with some other housewives. Are we also going to demote Teresa? Are we going to make her fun of the show? Because that was pretty violent. So, I mean, again, if you're going to treat one housewife one way, treat all of them equally as well. That's the same way for the audience. The same way that people see Teresa as iconic for throwing a bunch of things that are Margaret. Just because they don't like Margaret, they think that it's iconic and they think it's amazing and it's a good moment for TV. I want everybody to also have the same energy for all the other housewives in every other city as well. Like, if there's physical fight over there in Atlanta or Potomac or in Salt Lake City or anywhere, I don't want the audience to be like, oh, well, you know what? That was too much right there. No, she needs to get kicked off the show. That was disgusting behavior. No, that is horrible. I am not here for violence. I don't want to hear all that, because no, it's not fair. Because again, Teresa gets away with everything when it comes to throwing drinks, throwing plates, and I just want the wives in other city to also get the same leadway from Andy and not have them crucified every single time. Not only Andy, but also the audience. I don't want them to also just look at Jersey like, oh, everything is fine in Jersey. There's no rules over there. That's fine. It's all fun TV. And then look at other cities and downplay them for doing the same exact thing that Teresa's doing. So again, just treat everybody equally, and that's fine. Because for me personally, I don't care what anybody does on any of the cities. Like, everybody could get into brawls every other episode, and I will feel no type of way about it, as long as everybody's being treated equally and everybody's not just looking down at one city or one housewife for doing the same thing other housewives do in different cities. So, and that was the episode, everybody. What did y'all think about this episode? I mean, it got pretty heated at the very end, and I was actually very, very, very shocked that they didn't leave us at it to be continued. Because you know Jersey is notorious for that. So I'm shocked that they didn't just show like maybe 2 seconds of the issue between Margaret and Teresa and just left the rest of it for next week. They actually gave us something this week. So kudos to Bravo this time. Let me not jinx it, because next week we'll probably get another to be continued. Watch. But what do y'all think about it? Do y'all think that Margaret actually called up the bloggers to talk about Teresa or what goes around in the group? Or do you think that Teresa's just overreacting and she's getting defensive? Or do you think that she's okay? It's fine the way that she went at Margaret like that, because Margaret, she has been pushing Teresa's buttons the entire season, and now she wants to just, oh, no, I never said anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I was only questioning Louis about a couple things. That's it. But you've been doing it every single episode. Like, Louis has been in your mouth the entire season, Margaret. I mean, then again, kudos to you as well, because without you, we wouldn't have a season. So, I mean, I'll give you points for that. But again, what do y'all think? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everybody. Mwah. Oh, let me move before I get a drink thrown in my face. Bye. Mwah.